Eyewitness News Live at 5 begins now with continuing coverage as we remember a president.
President Bush's casket just arrived in Washington a short time ago, and his body will lie in state at the U.S. Capitol Rotunda beginning tonight through Wednesday morning. Just after noontime today, President Bush's casket departed from Ellington Airfield in Houston following a military ceremony honoring the former president. Members of the Bush family were on board the flight, including his son, former President George W. Bush. And a short time ago, the president's casket arrived at the U.S. Capitol, where he'll lie in state around the clock until his funeral on Wednesday. Eyewitness News anchor Steve Nielsen joins us with more on the remembrances happening now and more on the former president's ties to southern New England. Steve?
Well, that's right. Special Air Mission 41 landed in Maryland around an hour and a half ago. And the president's body was taken by motorcade to the U.S. Capitol building. And let's go live right now to see what's taking place at the Capitol building. His send-off from Houston was powerful. It was somber. And this elicits that same feeling tenfold. As this casket was taken out of the car outside of the Capitol building just in the last 10 minutes, a band played Hail to the Chief as we heard a 21-gun salute. And now you can see Bush's family is now being taken into the Capitol Rotunda. The president's casket will lie here in state until Wednesday for his funeral. The last person to lie in state at the Capitol, U.S. Senator John McCain. Now, as we remember President George H.W. Bush, we dug through our archives of the president's visits to Rhode Island. That includes 2008, when he was the commencement speaker at Bryant University. He received an honorary diploma and spoke about the school and the state.
Here at Bryant, to their everlasting credit, they've taught you repeatedly that character matters. Character matters. May God bless each and every one of you, and thank you for the warmth of your welcome.
Also, while he was president, Bush landed in Rhode Island in Air Force One in 1990, greeting Rhode Island leaders and shaking hands with those who waited for him on the tarmac. Later, he took a motorcade to a country club where he spoke. We go back live now to the U.S. Capitol building, where he will lie in state until Wednesday. This is the scene outside as the president's casket was just carried up those steps moments ago. I'll join you again in 15 minutes with a look at what will happen in the days ahead as the nation and Rhode Island remembers George Herbert Walker Bush. I'm Steve Nielsen, Eyewitness News.
But first, we continue our coverage tonight as we remember a president. Just a short time ago, President George H.W. Bush's casket was brought up the steps of the Capitol into the Rotunda, where he will be honored for his lifetime of service to the country.
The president will lie in state as leaders and the public remember his life and legacy. And tonight we're hearing from New Englanders who call the president friend. Eyewitness News reporter Steve Nielsen joins us now live in studio with more. Steve?
Mike, Caroline, his casket being brought up the stairs, there was such a beautiful moment. They were playing Hail to the Chief to a 21-gun salute. It has been an eventful, emotional, somber day at the Capitol. The former president's casket went by motorcade to a base in Houston. There was a send-off ceremony there, and then they flew the president's plane to Joint Base Andrew, landing 2 hours ago. And let's go live now to the casket at the U.S. Capitol building. A ceremony is underway right now. Vice President Mike Pence speaking just moments ago. As you can see, he sat down here next to President George W. Bush, Laura Bush on his left, and then Jeb Bush as well. They lost a father today, not just their president. George Herbert Walker Bush's body will lie in state in the Capitol from now until Wednesday morning. Starting at 7 tonight, the public can come and pay respects. Remembrances, though, are pouring in nationally. And although Bush might be remembered as being a Texan, he had New England roots running deep. That includes Milton, Massachusetts. This plaque here at this sign behind these American flags, this marks his birthplace, Adams Street in Milton. Locals left mementos at the site to say goodbye to the Massachusetts native.
It's important that people pay their respects. You know, this man gave up his entire life in service to the country. I think that should be recognized. I think it's important, whether Republican, Democrat, or otherwise.
And not too far away from Milton, Kennebunkport, Maine, the beautiful Bush compound on the water here. This town and the Bush family are so connected. Locals reflecting on the life of President Bush and what he meant to them. Two friends he met over the years in Kennebunkport say they're departing to be at the funeral at the National Cathedral.
Such an honor to be invited and to actually be part of it, whatever part.
You just make sure that you're going to show your respect to this man and family.
Many Rhode Islanders had a connection with the president as well, and on Eyewitness News at 6, I will bring you some of their stories, and we'll go back out live to the Capitol. I'm Steve Nielsen, Eyewitness News.
First at 6, we join the country in remembering a president.
The casket carrying the body of President George H.W. Bush is inside the rotunda of the U.S. Capitol. A ceremony just wrapped up there a short time ago.
It was a solemn yet moving scene outside the U.S. Capitol just before 5 as the casket arrived. Eyewitness News reporter Steve Nielsen has been following the ceremony. He joins us now live in studio. Steve?
Mike Shannon, I would describe it as a powerful day, first starting in Houston and now in D.C. And we have a live look at the Capitol Rotunda. This is President George Herbert Walker Bush's casket lying in state. In 1 hour, the public will be allowed to come in to pay their respects to the president and say goodbye. He will lie here until Wednesday morning when his casket will be moved to the National Cathedral for his funeral. It's been powerful, as I said, at the Capitol. His casket being brought into a brass band playing Hail to the Chief while cannons fired a 21-gun salute at the end of the reflecting pool. Locally, stories of the president have poured in. Retired Adjutant General Reginald Centracchio says he met the president for the first time when he was vice president. He says Bush trained for World War II at the old Charlestown military base and shared stories of his time in Rhode Island.
He explained to me what it was like to fly into Quonset and fly into Charleston, and several occasions he said, son, I almost bought the farm here. Meaning he flew into one of the dunes. President Bush was just a tremendous gentleman, and I'm extremely privileged to have known him and be in his company for those several times.
After Bush's funeral on Wednesday at the National Cathedral, his body will be flown back to Texas, where he'll be buried next to his wife Barbara and daughter Robin. I'm Steve Nielsen, Eyewitness News.